Okay, we are live. Good afternoon. And my name is Ronke Posh. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be discussing deep roots today. And joining me today will be Nikki Ajayi, a performance consultant, and also Diola Okeke, head of school at Haggai School. What do I mean by deep roots? What exactly do I mean by deep roots? Not long ago, in fact, last week at the playground, we noticed that there were roots growing under the paving stones. We had a tree there and we had to cut it down. So we cut this tree down, and about 2 or 3 years later, the roots were growing. So I put it on Facebook and I shared what was happening, what exactly was happening there. And people began to comment and respond about the deep. So what exactly did I write? So I planted this teeny weeny tree, very, very small, a few years ago. And then it grew, and it was a nice, beautiful canopy. All the kids used to stay there on the playground, the students, the teachers, we all used to stay there, and it was amazing and it was a lot of fun. But after a while, the roots were growing, and we believed that it was going to go under the foundation of the building. So we decided that it wasn't going to work. So we took it out. We took out the roots, and yet it kept growing. The tree kept growing even after we had cut it down. So I started to think and say, what exactly is going on? It grew so big that it cracked the lawn tennis court. It cracked the lawn tennis court. And we were digging and digging. It took us about 3 days to get this roots out. So I started to think about how roots affect our lives, how our backgrounds affect us from, stop us from living the absolute life that we actually want to enjoy. So that's the foundation of this talk that we'll be having today. So just stay tuned and we will continue shortly. So here we will have a 30-second break for us before we commence. Good, welcome back. So when we talk about roots, our backgrounds are foundations. Our roots can be positive, our roots can be negative. So positive roots are good habits, for example. So if we're being consistent, those are positive attributes that we can have in life. So those things that we do consistently, those things that we do that are positive. So if we're good planners, or if we're good to people, or just the everyday things, moral values, those are the sort of things that we can say are very good roots, and we can spread fruits of the spirit, love, joy, peace. Those are roots that if you continue to build and build and build, they give us a very good foundation. Say, for example, we live in a country that there's a lot of corruption. And if your roots are not very deep, or if they are even deep and shaky, you'd find that you will be someone that will be prone to corruption, prone to cheating. How about having side chicks? How about having all sorts of bad behaviors and bad characters? You find that because of the kind of roots that we have, it actually determines who we actually are. So we need to check the roots. So our roots can be good, and then our roots are foundation. So what experiences can affect us? What are those significant emotional experiences that can affect the life that we live today? What are they? So those are the things that we are going to be discussing today. My guests are going to join us shortly. We had a technical challenge, and so I have Nikki Ajayi joining us. I have Diola Okeke joining us, but we're still waiting for them to join us as we discuss roots. So thank you for joining us. I can see a couple of people here now. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I'm still waiting for them to join us. They are on the phone. However, they're experiencing this technical challenge that is here. So whoever you are, whoever, if you've joined us, please say hello and let's know that you are here. Let us know how you found out about the meeting I'm going to be having today. And I will just continue to forge ahead regardless. I'm hoping that they'll be back, they'll be here soon. So you find that when we have our jobs or our marriages or our relationships, the things that we do in life, we can be very good at it or very bad at it, or we can easily give up. So say for example, this webinar that we're having right now, I was going to postpone it as of yesterday. Why? Because I had a big challenge with my phone. So my phone packed up, the screen is still flickering. It's flickering. And so I had to rely on an old phone, which wasn't as amazing anyway. I'm still having issues with it. So I couldn't promote this event the way I wanted to promote it. A lot of my data, all being backed up, was still on the other phone. The other one is not as intelligent. So many challenges. So I said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to cancel. I'm going to postpone this to another time. However, I had to think. I said, what's the topic of this webinar? Roots, deep roots. So if it's a root, what am I exhibiting? What behavior am I currently exhibiting right now? If I say I want to postpone it, people are going to watch this webinar. People are going to come. They've taken up their time. They've booked market, and I'll cancel it. I've invited people to come here. I'm going to cancel it. Whatever is going on here is going to be left here. People are going to watch it, and it's going to minister to them in one way or the other, and they can make their contributions. So why am I going to cancel it? Because of me. So it's my root selfish. It's my root self-serving. Is it all about me? It's not about me. It's a Saturday show, and we come here every Saturday. So I said, irrespective of how I'm feeling, irrespective of what happens to my phone, I need to be grateful that I can use my laptop and I can actually carry on, and I can learn from this experience as well. So inviting people here, we're going to be talking about marriage. Ms. Bella Kike has a marriage a group where she talks about to married women. Nick is a performance coach, neuro-linguistic practitioner, and she talks about issues like this. She also has a group for people that want to move forward with issues that are limiting them. So when you're in a job, for example, when we think about the sector, the Nigerian educational sector, for example, when we think Ms. Okeke is here, let me add her to the stream. Welcome, ma'am. Sorry about all our technical challenges. I've just talked about you, Mrs. Bella Okeke. Welcome back here. It's your audio. I need to be able to hear you. Just your audio. We had already tested all this, and now we're having to do it all over again. So I'll wait for your audio to come over.
Can you hear me now?
So yes, we can hear some rattling. Yay! Yes, we can hear you. Welcome to the webinar today, where we're talking about deep roots. So thank you for being here. I've introduced you already, and I said we'll just shoot ahead because we've already wasted enough time already, about 16 minutes. So when you saw the post, what came to mind? What came to mind when you saw the post, and what's your understanding of roots? How do you believe that they limit us?
Okay, I believe that roots are like a warehouse. From my understanding, it's like a warehouse that does a lot of things. Like they are like an anchor that holds the trees down and ensures that the tree does not fall. They absorb water and minerals for the use of the plant, and they also are like a storage that is like a reservoir that transports water, minerals to every part of the tree. Thank you.
And when you saw that root, when you saw that post, people responded in different ways. The way I looked at it was that our roots, what makes us up, can actually be so strong that even when people think that they've taken us out, or we're not doing well, or maybe we started a business, is no longer functioning, deep down under, it is actually working. So that was a perspective that I brought it from. But I remember that there was a lady on Facebook, BB, that said, you know what, there's another perspective that she saw a psychologist once, and that person said to her that if these roots are also not healthy roots, that they can actually limit us. So I wanted Nika to talk about the negative one when she's able to join, and I wanted you to talk about the positive one. Say, for example, you talk about marriage. What are those sort of roots that we can have in marriage that can boost us? What are the sort of positive roots. So when people, I'm sure you talk to people in your groups about staying together. So let's talk
Yeah.
about it in the concept of your school. So you head a school, you own a school. Let's talk about it from the concept of the kind of roots that you believe that teachers, for example, have that makes them stay, that makes them commit or not, or even relationships that work and relationships that do not work. What are the sort of roots that you see there?
Okay, I believe that a bigger part of the issue when it comes to roots is what is the knowledge that you have. Take, for example, you said in the marriage, somebody that is going into marriage, what knowledge do you have before you even enter into the institution of marriage? What knowledge, what residual knowledge have you put right there at the back of your mind before you go in? So your level of understanding is very important. The level of preparedness is very important. When you look at the issue of a teacher and the school, when you don't have a teacher is expected to pass knowledge to people, and when you don't have the required knowledge, how do you impart knowledge into the children? So I think it starts from being intentional about what you know. What are the things you know? What is your level of preparedness? What kind of environment? Because I believe, as much as I believe as well, that the environment has a lot to do with your roots. Your environment is critical. Then what kind of background marriage, what do you know, being able to, you understand, prepare ahead of time, what knowledge do you have? So those are basically the things that are critical for you to be able to have a good and a strong foundation. So you need to know that you understand your roots, you understand where you're coming from, you have a knowledge of what you're doing, have a knowledge of what you are going in. Into how are you going to be able to cope? Okay, are you still there? I believe the knowledge you store up helps you in your growth path. What is the knowledge you have stored up? What knowledge, just like the root is like a storage for that carries nutrients to other parts of the tree. What's your growth pattern? What have you done to improve yourself? What have you done to be able to ensure
The network is not fantastic at the moment.
that you are
Let's wait for
capable?
our network
You
to
know, you have to
stabilize
be
a bit.
intentional about what you know. Yeah.
Okay. We had some challenges hearing you because of your network, so we're
Yeah.
just waiting for it to stabilize. So, welcome, Nike, back to
Thanks for
welcome
having
here,
me.
welcome to this particular stream. Thank you so much for sharing, Ms. Biola,
Yeah.
for sharing about from the perspective of employment, and we're still going to
Yeah.
dig a bit deeper. So, Nike, that you're here now. So, thank you for being here. What I
Thank you
wanted
for
to do to
having
talk
me.
about what I wanted you to talk about were negative roots. So you saw the
Okay.
post. I talked about the tree in the playground, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
our roots can be positive, our roots can be negative. Mr. Keke has been talking
Definitely.
about positive roots in people. So what are those roots that can hold us back as parents, as teachers, for example, educators? What are those roots that can limit us and stop us from progressing? And how sometimes you have a negative root and you don't even know that you have one. Perhaps you don't even understand the meaning of roots in the first place. So can you shed some light for us from that perspective?
Okay. Thank you, Ronke. Thank you for having me. We're all a product of our upbringing. We're all a product of conditioning and programming, right? We're all a product of our society. There is no person that just came, landed on earth, no parents, no background, nobody that brought this person to being. So we all were nurtured in an environment. Now, when we're nurtured in an environment, many things are done, many things we pick up, whether consciously or unconsciously, we pick up so many things. Some are inculcated into us, some we are programmed to behave like that, some we are conditioned to behave like that. Now, we all know that as human beings, we all can be perfect, and there are things that we've been taught, there are things we've learned, there are beliefs we have, there are some positive and negative values our parents had that we then now imbibe. So we become, nobody just, like I said, nobody just was given birth to, you grew up and then you're this person. Many things were done, many things were said, many things we saw, many things we experienced growing up that has now made us who we are right now. Of course, like, you know, both good and bad things, right? So some people don't, okay, so when we say both good and bad things, some people are already think, oh, no, how wasn't brought up Bradley? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are some times that some things we've been exposed to are not necessarily the best of all things. We know our parents did the best they can given the situation, the circumstance, the condition, and the resources they had. So that is not an argument. We're just saying that there were some things that were indoctrinated, or some things we observed, some experiences we had, and we interpreted in a particular way that has limited us, that has held us back, or that is still holding us back from being the best we can. So our roots are the foundational things that we grew up on, thinking they were perfect, they were absolute, they were right, and nothing. And most times, yes, those things might have served us in the past. Let me also say, those things might have worked for us in the past, but as of now, they are not necessarily things we want to hold on to. So our upbringing, our environment, our society, these are things that contribute to the roots that we have now. So I believe that answers it, and then we can elaborate as we go on.
Of course, thank you so much. Okay, so when we're still talking about roots, we've talked about our parents, for example. So there's a typical case of this beating or no beating, for example. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, I was beaten and beaten and beaten, and I turned out all right, so I can beat my child. That boy, calm down or no calm down. What was the big deal there? It's not even beating him, and people are saying they're abusing the child. What is your perspective when it comes to parenting and our roots? Because we want to believe that something is right because it's something that we've been doing historically. And people will say, oh, I don't want my children to be like the spoiled children abroad. But if you ask them, where do you want your children to further their education, they all want to send their children abroad to join the spoiled kids abroad. So really, how do you think parenting affects a mentality?
Okay, Robert, one thing that I hear a lot is we turned out well, or
Yes.
we've moved on. Our parents did those things, so we've moved on. Now, here's the thing. Consciously or unconsciously, the issues we have now can be traced back to our roots. That is what most times people do not understand. A lot of things, a lot of battles, see, the bad decisions you make, the dissatisfaction you feel, the frustration you're going through, the unhappiness, a lot of these things are tied back to that. Now, let's even look at some very interesting whatever. When you hit a child, when you beat a child, that's an abuse. And there are different kinds of abuse. You have the physical abuse, you have the sexual abuse, you have psychological abuse. Neglect is an abuse. Most times people do not understand these things, and it's so interesting because I think the value from human life is not something we are particularly we are sold out to here. We feel, yes, that was done to us, but you know the you that you're talking, if you want to be truthful and fair, when that thing was done to you, you didn't like it and it wasn't right. There are some things you struggle with up till now that is a product of that. Let me give you an example. I never knew the reason why I had anxiety. If I am sitting, it's a good day, normal day, I'm sitting, I have nothing to do, so to say. Maybe I had a list of things to get done and I've done it, or my week is light, which I think every normal human being should experience that and should like that. Ronke, I get agitated. Like I'm agitated, like feel there's something wrong. There's something is not right. There's something wrong. Right? So much that I become irritable. If my husband is making a simple joke, I can snap because I'm thinking, there's something wrong. It can't be like this. Things are not meant to just be calm and easy and nothing is happening. So guess what? eventually I traced this thing and I realized that I made this post on Instagram a while ago. I said to someone, I realized that growing up, my mom would come and this is how she would wake me up. Naked, it is 7 o'clock and you're still sleeping. It is blah, blah, blah. So I wake up with a startle like, oh my God. And she keeps saying, she'll say, oh, your mates have done a lot of things today. They have done this, they have done that, they have done that. You know, that comparison. And I will be so afraid. So I jump up and I do things that normally should take me 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I finish it in 15 minutes. And guess what? I finish and then I look at the time and I realize it's 5:30. She always had a very crafty way of doing it, so much that you think, okay, you would have been immune to this. I consistently, she'll consistently do that. Now I know she did that for my good because she wanted me to be fast and she had all her good reasons, but that created anxiety in me. So I grew up to become this girl who doesn't know how to calm down. I don't know how things would be. You will see me shaky, agitated, and anxious as to there is nothing for me to do. And I'm just giving you one instance into so many things that she does, or well, in that area. So I'm thinking, oh my God, everything is peaceful, everything is calm. There is something I'm supposed to be doing. My brain was just constantly on overdrive. Now, if you do not understand that, if you don't do the work and understand that this thing is coming from the roots, you will blame a lot of things. You can blame your spouse, you can blame village people, and you know in Nigeria, we're so quick to blame village people. Village people is, I wonder who these village people are if it's not us, you know? So many things like this, we are all a product of our upbringing. These roots are still there until we go to understand how badly they are affecting us, or how well it has also contributed to our existence and the things we have achieved today. We would not know that the roots are there and they're valid, man.
Thank you for sharing that, Nikki. Thank you. So let's move on to religion. Miss Okike, I also know that you're quite a spiritual lady. So because I also read your posts and I see the God factor in it. So, but you see that a lot of our youth are actually, they like these influencers online. They like following thought leaders or whatever it is they want to call themselves these days. They like to follow, just the same way that they like to follow their pastors. I'm of the opinion that a lot of them have very faulty roots. Otherwise, they will be able to decipher the people that they can follow in an ecological way and the people that they shouldn't really be following. So you find that some of them, they will follow somebody and they will tell them to buy their products, for example. I've had people that they will say, oh, I bought that product. It was even something, it was a useless product, or maybe I bought it at night when I was tired and they were having this webinar at night because I've been writing about people buying things at night because people are beginning to hold webinars in the middle of the night now, and people feel as if they're tired and they blackmail them at that time. So they follow the wrong people. They don't know the right people to follow. And I believe it's a parenting challenge, a leadership failure somewhere. So they're just wandering like sheep. They need guidance. They don't know who to follow. So what is your perspective in terms of who people are following online? How can you say who is the safe person to follow? What's your perspective? Who is the safe person to follow so that these people, we don't, even I have made mistakes, as big as I am, I've made mistakes and I've followed people and realized that this person is just wolf in sheep's clothing, like they said in the end times. How do we know the right people to follow based on our roots? Your audio.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
My audio is on. Okay. If you are talking about youths, young, I mean, those who are young, who that are just upcoming, I think age is a major problem because something happened to me recently. I decided my children, I don't allow them on social media until they get to a particular age. So my son is already living, the third one is already living the secondary school. So he opened an Instagram page, and the next thing I saw that he had almost 1,000 followers, and I'm like, why? How how did you have up to 1,000 followers with it? He just kept on accepting everybody because he felt that maybe that's the way it goes. So I had to sit him down and educate him, and I'm like, you don't just follow anybody. I look at some of the people he's following, they're even foreigners. I say, how do you find yourself following this kind of a people? Look at me. I've been on Instagram for how many years? I can count the number of people that are following me and those I follow because I take my time to select them. So I think he said he didn't know. He just felt like just keep accepting everybody. So I think his age, that's the way I see it. That's my own opinion, because an ignorance too, maybe he doesn't know, he doesn't understand what is supposed to go about it. So he was a bit ignorant, so I had to educate him and make him understand and realize that that's not how to go about it. So that's my own feel about that.
Thank you, ma'am. That's quite interesting. Nikki, I'm going to ask you that question, because when it comes to following, which she mentioned, which I wasn't even going to talk about, it wasn't on my list. This following is a big thing for youth. The more you have, in fact, it's a status thing. If you don't have enough following, I think someone's audio. Okay, can we go on mute until we are ready to talk? Someone's audio is. So if you don't have a lot of following for the youth, they don't believe that they are enough. So we have to tell them that, okay, it's not about the number of people that are following you, but they don't feel validated if they don't have enough of these people following them. If you have people, you put a post out and there are only 5 likes, you've heard of children committing suicide as a result. Now, how does the roots come in, Nikki? We know there's even adults are suffering from this followership, who is following, who is not following, how many people are following, how many people are not following. But then you have this root, like Mr. Keke said, she sat her son down to say it's not about the numbers. But in the real world, it is about the numbers. People even buy bots, they buy followers, so that it's a social, there's a word for it. It's a social thing. It might come to me, having all those number of following. So if they don't have it, they're depressed. If they put a post out, they don't have many people liking it, it becomes, war. They are moody and depressed. So really, what's your take on that?
Okay, here's my take. And I want to look at it from this perspective. Every human being has needs. The need for love, unconditional love and acceptance. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. The need for love and acceptance, the need for love, unconditional love, the need for acceptance, the need for validation, approval, right? Now, most of the time, what we find is that a larger population of African homes or Nigerians, let's put it at that, most of us were not brought up on this values, on this, on being feeling approved, feeling validated, having this love, unconditional love, and having acceptance. So as a result of that, majority of the people are not healthy. And guess what? It is a human need. Now, as you grow, you come to accept your parents. And I'm so sure you've heard of this quote that says that a child the parents complain about doesn't hate the parent, but hates him or herself. So we're at this point whereby a lot of these kids are disoriented, right? So they grow up, but they have that need. They want that thing.
Please say it again. A child that what?
The child that that the mother hates or the parents hate or dislike doesn't grow up disliking the mother, but grows up disliking him or herself.
Okay.
Did you get that? So you're a child and you're constantly criticized, you're constantly you're constantly berated. There's something wrong with you, this and all of that. The child doesn't grow up hating the mother or hating the father. The child grows up hating himself. So these things are missing. The foundational thing for every human being, the foundational need for every human being are missing. The need for love, unconditional love, acceptance, approval, validation. Now it is there, but we suppress it as we grow up. Now we grow up, we're able to make our decisions. We fall under we were being spoken to and we are told, the Lord loves you, God had got this, God does. And then of course we have a taste of that relationship and we see this is what I like. Now, the messenger of the relationship, if he has charisma or she has charisma, now that's a plus. Then we get into a point whereby what you did not have, you find someone giving it to you. So let's assume, because I'm taking this back to what you said at the beginning about why people follow some leaders and then they follow blindly and the following. And you see, someone gives you something you've always wanted and you didn't even know you wanted it, right? But this person stirs up that need for that. Of course, you naturally gravitate towards this person. The need for love has been there, but you know what, the way your parents showed love or the way your caregivers showed love to you wasn't necessarily the way you wanted it, but you accepted it and you could make do with it. Now you find someone who gives you that attention. Yes, attention is one of them. You find somebody who pays you that attention. This is how predators also in a way do on their praise. So you find somebody that gives you that attention. You find somebody that says to you, oh, you did well. You that probably when you were growing up, that wasn't the thing you consistently heard. Rather, it was a case of you're this, you're that, you did this wrong, what's wrong with you? You never get anything right, you never do all of that. You now find one person who comes to say to you, you're doing well. You know how you feel as a human being.
Talk at them. Sometimes they don't even validate it. Sometimes they'll say, oh, you're not doing well because you're not ready. You're not using your sense. You're not using,
Yes.
they actually even think about NLP. I think about a case of learned helplessness. So I actually see sometimes that it's not always pleasantries, and yet they stay there and they accept it. What exactly is going on there?
Well, because for me, sometimes I think that's also because if you look at the beginning, nobody is attracted or nobody stays with someone who at the beginning curses and berates and criticizes them. There is a need that is being fulfilled in the first place. There is a foundational need that is being fulfilled. Now you come in and remember, when these things are missing, some people have low self-esteem already. They have low self-esteem, and anything slightly better than where they are coming from, they are willing to accept it. And the reason why some people even accept it is because they're thinking, okay, so you find I've heard a case of a pastor who comes and says something at the congregation, and they accept it and they're there and they think, why? Sometimes you ask these people, this person speaks to you like this. I've heard a pastor who slapped someone I know. And I was like, have you left? And she said, no. And I was like, why? I was so, what is happening here? Then she goes, this is the place where I get that, when my soul and my spirit is nourished. I'm thinking, I will beat your soul and your spirit. Sometimes you're like, I don't get it. But foundationally, there's something missing that they're getting from this place. So if you can't see the immediate benefit, there is a secondary benefit that thing is fulfilling. And where's the deficit of the secondary benefit coming from? From the past, from how they were treated, from where they are coming from. You've heard of codependents who would say, you know what, I'm taking care of this person. I'm doing this for this person. Of course, because that is what they've been used to. Many people have been used to abuse. Abuse has become the normal thing for many people. So they look at this and they're like, this is not bad. My mother would say this to me. And I know she still loves me. So that is a thwarted way of seeing love, of seeing concern, of seeing all these things that are missing.
Thank you for that, Nikki. I guess it's the same thing that happens with abuse. So abuse in relationships. So the patterns repeat. So it's happened in one family and then it transfers to yet another family. So thanks for sharing that. So when we talk about environment, say for example, in Nigeria, again, there are so many, we can talk about like millions and millions of roots that are holding people down. A lot of people are walking down the road, you'll see that people don't even smile again in Nigeria. They don't smile. People look angry when they're just walking down.
I need to adjust my microphone. I can't hear you well, but I don't think it's from your end. So I need to use my earphones. So don't worry, I'll be just here.
Are you good, Mr. Okeke? Are you good? Your audio is not on. We can't hear you. So I'll just wait for them to sort their audio out. So we'll be talking about Nigeria now. If you have any questions and if you're here, please say hello. Let us know that you're actually here. Say hello to us. Drop your name. Let's know that you're here. Let's know how you found out about this YouTube video. And if you have any questions, please let us know as well. So let's just take a 30-second break, please. Okay, thanks for staying with us. Ms. Okeke is back. And let's see if we can hear you now. Ms. Okeke, are you there?
Can you hear? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So we'll talk about many things and we'll talk about abusive relationships. So what will cause someone to be in an abusive relationship and still stay there? And what will cause a man or a woman to be abusive based on these rules that we're talking about?
Okay, the upbringing somebody has, thank you for the question. The upbringing that someone has a lot to do with how that person grows up. Somebody that grew up in an environment where the father is always abusing the mother, it grows up with that.
Okay, Nika, can you hear me? Is your own audio nice?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. So when it comes to addictions and roots, people say they turned out all right. So they have the nice car, they have the nice husband, have the nice wife, and the nice job. But they are addicted to one thing or the other. Addicted to porn, shopping, social media, beating, getting angry, and all sorts of things. They are also linked to roots. So they might be hurting and they might be in pain. And the way of getting over those things, because they will say they're okay from the beating, they'll say they're okay from the experiences, even the rape and all the abuse from seniors in school. They would put it aside and say they're okay. But then in their closet, they've got so many things bugging them. How do these roots come into play?
Okay, so even if you're doing well, you're making money. I remember I spoke at a place and then I was saying that, we're all a product of our background and these things have affected us in one way or the other. And someone said, do you know how much I have in my bank account? And I laughed and I said, are you forgetting that that bank you kept your money in is owned by somebody? So no matter how well you're doing, can you always do better? And can you be a better person? Because I don't think there's anybody in this world that would say, oh, I'm at my peak and this is the best I can be. So of course, we're all addicted to something. And I just want to say that some people are addicted to relationships. They cannot be by themselves. They have to be with someone. And this is as a result of not wanting to see this issue, deal with these issues as it matters. So it's and I think it's denial. And
is that not an insecurity? It's different from loneliness.
No. It's not. It's different from loneliness. Like, yes, sorry. Like you said, it's different from loneliness. It's insecurity, but insecurity plays up in different ways. Insecurity plays up in different ways, right? So sometimes people feel that, oh, I'm good, but then you're denying. You're in denial. You don't want to face it. But again, because sometimes people think it's a lot of work to go in there and do the work, they would rather deny themselves of that benefit of going in to do the work. Like you said, is it not an insecurity? I know someone, one day I saw a friend do something so on social media and I thought, oh, she's doing great. I would like to work with her, or I would like to come a bit closer. She's my friend for years. Come a bit closer, understand why she's doing this thing or how she gets this thing done, rather. So I called her thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to get insight as to how she's constantly acing this goal, doing something. So we called and we started this conversation. And I asked her some questions, and the response was that, Nikki, I can't sit without doing anything. I just must have something to do. I felt, okay, why? She was like, I just can't. I would be restless. And that kind of sent some signals to me, because I thought, no, having a break is not a bad thing. Taking some time out is not a bad thing. Because what she painted to me, based on the conversation we had, is that, see, when I finish one project, I have to start thinking of the other one. There's no room to rest. Now you know that person is addicted to activities. Because like I said, we all have different addiction, and we all have our levels of insecurity. So sometimes people
Let's talk
use
about
this thing.
addiction to activities, because I think I'm addicted to activities. I'm always working. Like I've been
Oh, okay.
exactly. What would you say to someone like me who since yesterday has been moody? I've been really, really moody because my phone is out of service. I tried to go and fix it, and they told me the screen is going to cost me 90,000 naira minus the audio problem that it already has. So I thought to myself, I'm going to spend 100,000 naira, then I'll get a new phone. So I don't have a new phone yet. This one I'm using is not as intelligent as the one I'm using. That one has more space. That one, the old one, has less space. One SIM. It's just not where I am now. So I couldn't promote this, for example, this webinar as I would normally have done. I had created so many things that are on the old phone, backed up, but not backed up for that up to that particular time. So I'm frustrated. My daughter has been saying, "Are you okay, mommy? Are you okay, mommy?" But I know I've been saying to people around me that I feel frustrated because of my phone. I went as far as, because I'm an analyst naturally, and I went as far as saying, is this the end times? This is how they're going to get us in the end times. They're just going to take our phones away, and we will conform to anything because we're so desperate. So I started to link it to, that's why I didn't postpone this webinar. That, you know what? Whatever happens, even if one person that turns on, even if nobody, I'm not going to say because of one thing or the other, make excuses, which are limiting beliefs, which are also roots. So what would you say to someone like me that's addicted to activity? I can't not be working. There are times when I will lie in bed and do nothing and sleep and watch TV, but they are the minority. I enjoy working. I can't imagine
Let me
being
first
60,
of all
70. I can't.
let me first of all differentiate, right? You have a reason for being moody, right? Something happened to you. Okay, I'm going to take them in layers. Something happened to you, and the thoughts you had around it, right? The thoughts you picked around that thing, the interpretation you gave that thing, sank you into, or gradually was sinking you into a hole, right? Because when I got the message last night, I felt, okay, your phone, aren't you using the YouTube on your laptop and all of that? And I was glad when you said, okay, you know what, I'm not going to cancel. So that is one difference. So that is something different. Now, also being addicted to activity, you said, oh, sometimes I take that back seat and I rest. Okay. So that in a way you do. You're not someone who doesn't do it. Now, again, let me look at a bit deeper side. Most times when people are addicted to activity, it could be as a result of not wanting to go inward to do the work, or they feel an emptiness inside. There is a void inside, and they want to use external activity to fill it up. I have said that, Ronke, remember, I said that it's slightly different from what you said, right? It's slightly different from, I'm moody, my phone is bad, and all of that. You had things planned. Of course, you're a diligent, hardworking person, right? You get things done. It doesn't mean that I've seen you at parties, Ronke. You've gone to parties. You know how to unwind when you want to unwind. Like, okay, so today we're not doing anything. So yours is probably not chronic. If you still feel it's something, yours is not chronic. I'm
I hope
talking
it's not,
about
because I
people.
really love working.
Loving to work is a different thing from working because I don't want to face the truth about an internal issue I have, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not willing to take the time to resolve what it is. That's different. I told you, my friend says, I sit down and I'm not doing anything. That's when my mind is beginning to start thinking about all sorts, and all that. And I'm not ready for that. That's denial. That's living in denial, no wanting. If your mind is going somewhere, can you trace it? Okay, what's this thing that is really here? Because if you look at it, I sometimes feel these people that they are in this service, going for this church program, another church program, going for here, there are issues. The issues that are beyond just going fasting, praying. These issues require sometimes, because like I keep saying to a friend of mine, if you're ill, won't you go to the hospital? You keep fasting and praying, but then you would use some medications, Abby. Then she says, yes. I'm like, okay, so mental health or emotional health, let me put it like that, because sometimes people are quick to attach a particular definition to things that are being said. Emotional health is something we need to concentrate on, and we need to take time out to understand, or else we just keep living our lives in circles and circles and circles. We keep handing over this frustration. So sometimes I had a client who by the time we were working together realized that, okay, the things that were done, that her mother had done to her, were not things she really wanted to do, but she was frustrated, and a lot of things had made her unhappy. The relationship with her father wasn't going as she wanted and all that. So as a result of this woman sitting down to get to the root of this thing, understanding her life and working at it, she would take it out on the kids. My friend especially, my client especially. Now she thought, when she was growing up, she thought, oh, mommy loves me, but there is some form of abuse there, because sometimes this woman blanks them out, doesn't cook, doesn't do anything, just generally emotionally neglects them. Now this client was at a point in her life, in her home too, where she realized that when the kids come and they want to talk to her, she just blanks them out too. She blanks them out. She doesn't want to attend to that. And she continuously does this thing. To the point that now she's taking time out to understand, to work on it. Imagine if a mom at some point had paused to say, what is happening to me and how can I fix this thing? That thing would not have been carried on to this client, who is also now just taking the time out to say, I don't want to carry it on too. Because the kids can then, I don't want to repeat this pattern, because it's not a generational cause issue. It's a generational pattern. You keep doing things in a particular way, you will get the results in this particular way.
What do you have to say, Mr. Keke? Hang on, Nike. What do you have to say, Mr. Keke? Your audio.
Oh, your audio.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I wanted to share a scenario with you. We were just sharing it on Sunday with my a group of friends. Some time ago, my husband was driving along the road, and he saw a young boy, who was carrying a school bag at the back, on his back, and got to a particular point. There was a lot of a pool of water, and when the boy got to that pool of water, he paused because there was no space for him to actually pass. So when he paused, he was thinking of, what do I do? The boy went a little bit back, then jumped over the water. For me, it's an experience that boy had. The way and the manner we bring up our children today does not look, it has a lot to do with how things are done with right now with the children. Take, for example, many of us, we lock them in. We don't want them to go out, or we don't want them to mingle. Comparing, if you compare it with the way you were brought up, we had every, we could move around, we could play around. Nobody is afraid whether somebody is going to kidnap you or something. But nowadays, our children are kept indoors. How would they hone their experience? To us, we feel that boy had owned his experience. Being able to jump over the water is an experience for him. And that same way, we expect our children to, begin to behave. So the roots, the way and the manner we bring the children up today differs from the way we were brought up in our own time. And in our own time, we have a lot of we have room to display a lot of things. We have room to decide. If you look at some of our children nowadays, some of them can't even enter public transport. They can't on their own, go out and find their way. I feel that background is very
But
important.
is that
I
not
feel so.
is that not as a result of society? Say, for example, when I was young in Kaduna, I used to roam about the streets. Well, not like that, but we could go out and ride our bicycles with children in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
We had a long
yeah.
street and we used to ride up and down, and we didn't have nannies following us. We didn't hear of cases of sexual abuse. We had fun, we played in the rain. But can I safely send that same my own child now to the streets and feel like somebody is not wanting to use her for money ritual or rape or something? Is it not a societal thing?
Well,
Our
partly
roots
it's
not so rotten. People have get rich schemes, everybody hush puppy and things. They will even sacrifice their mothers to get money. So things like that would dissuade people from wanting to actually send young children out.
That's true. That's a
You think so,
consideration.
Nike?
That's a consideration. It's we can't be oblivious of our society. I feel that, our society is also, we're also a product of our society, and we cannot be oblivious of it. That's a factor we need to consider. The things we could do when we're much younger, our kids can't do them right now, right? Because of the way the society is now. And like you said, is the rich get rich quick schemes and all those kind of things. Also, sometimes I also feel that as much as that's there, most of us live in fear. The fear, I now can't say if it's valid or it's not valid, because again, you have to
Exactly.
also consider where you're staying. Because sometimes when people say these things, I don't like it when people speak in absolutes and be like, no, you have to also consider where you're staying. I
And when
personally
you are
would
saying,
not.
okay, when you are saying still
Yeah.
doesn't matter, I will tell you why.
Why?
When we moved to Ikoyi, when I moved to
Yeah.
Nigeria about 9 years ago, and we were living in an estate there, ultimately we had armed robbers come to our house,
Wow.
robbed us, attacked us. My husband was out of work for almost 18 months. He was badly beaten. He had to have two borehole surgeries in his head. And this is supposed to be one of the creme de la creme areas in Lagos. But we had a domestic worker that had been working there even before we came back for like 2, 3 years, who we trusted. But that was the person that brought the criminals in. So this fear is not a respecter of person, location, or anything, because it can happen to anybody. I had a friend that moved from the UK and she was attacked in traffic. They took her wristwatch, took her bag, and the next thing she has gone back. Her own was not even as serious as mine. So I
Do
think
you
because
blame her?
I knew my why and I believe that it was part of my purpose to still be here. My husband still believed that for at least for now, we might still run away, but for now, I'm still supposed to be here. We didn't go. But I believe that fear, security is a national issue in Nigeria.
Yes, that's I am not saying that's not valid. Of course that's valid. Then again, I still say, what would it there's a supermarket not far away from my house, and I know that I could send my son there. But guess what? Because of this fear factor, I'm not saying that, oh, you've had an experience, and guess what it is? Most times you share your experience with me, that necessarily might not be what is happening here, right? Because if you look at it, there are things that had happened, like you said, oh, you had an in-house staff who then had tipped off other people. So some people, they don't have in-house staff, nothing needs to be tipped up off, rather, and they still are living in that fear. So it's kind of like it's a bit dicey, because with what Mrs. Okeke was saying, you could tell that truly for some people they don't have a story to tell, or the environment is still considerably safe. I know that where I stay is still considerably safe. That let me give you one funny thing. When my son would leave, there was a time that I was also living in that fear, that to allow my son to move from our house to, well, in the same compound, to my neighbor's house. I would have to come stand out and I'm watching over him. And one day I said to myself, Nike, come on now, what's even this? What's this?
I had to talk to myself, and it was not about anything because of the stories we hear. You share your story, this person shares their story, but it now doesn't mean that I
It's the
have
story,
to
social
cage
media.
this boy, because what will happen to him between my door and my neighbor's door? What? But the fear. But
But
fear.
God
So
forbid
honestly,
something
what Mr.
happens.
Okeke
Won't you
said is
blame
so.
yourself?
That is it.
God
What
forbid
would
something
happen?
happens.
Okay, what will happen? You've been to my house before,
Rapist,
between my door
rapist
and my
lurking
neighbor's
around.
door.
Somebody,
Rapists will come
huh?
inside my compound.
Oh, you
Rapists
never
will
know.
come
I'm
inside
just
my
saying.
compound when I have a
I can't agree with
security
everything
guy.
you're saying.
I get no,
Okay.
no, no. I
I
get, but I'm saying
I think
let's query that. I'm
we
saying
really
let's
need to
query
deal
that
with fear.
because a lot of things are born out of fear. Let me also give you an example.
We need
I
to
had
deal
a
with
friend
that
one
fear.
day.
Yeah.
Yes, a friend of mine called me one day and she was like, "Ah, Nike, are you home?" So I said, "Yes, I'm home." She goes, "Have you cooked?" This is a friend that of course, we've been friends for a while, but she's never been to my house. But then she just called me, "Have you cooked?" I'm like, "Where are you?" She goes, "Nikki, I'm hungry, but I don't want to leave where I am." Okay. Auntie, where are you? She said her daughter in school, her daughter's friend is celebrating her birthday. So the parents asked and wrote all of the daughter's friends' parents that they should bring their daughters to a particular place. So she said she brought them. Said, I brought this girl, and then I realized that our parents are Indians. So I was like, okay. She said, Nike Mili from Mile Pelu India. Indian. I was like, why?
Ah,
Meaning I can't
wow.
leave my. She said, no,
Why?
I don't know them. I can't trace them. If anything happens to my child, where do I want to trace them to? Have you not heard people come? Indians can do this. I'm like, girl, this person has a daughter. What on earth would she probably do to your own daughter? Is it your daughter? Is your daughter the only
That's
one
a
there?
deep root. That's a real
She
deep
said,
root.
she said no. I'm like, so what is the issue? After we spoke for a while, because I shared with her, I said, wait, what would you now do if you were in my own shoes? So I explained to her, saying that there was a time that my son's friend, classmate's mother just sent me a text out of the blues, don't have a number. She just said, hi, my name is so, I'm this person's mother. Please could you bring Damilare to a particular place in Lekki Phase 1? Where is my son's 10th birthday, and the venue of the party is actually at the hotel, but the limousine has been dedicated to take them over. So I was like, okay. In fact, instead of me facing the issue, I was typing the mother, please, when is your own birthday? Because if you are doing this for a 10-year-old boy, it's your birthday I want to come for, And then we joked about it, and eventually, I took my son there. So I was saying to her, what would you have done in that case? She says, Nikki, I would have gone mad because I would not leave my child to anybody. I would not. I'm like, that is fair. Eventually, she left that venue because by the time we kept talking, she was like, man, this thing is fair. We traced this fair. Guess what? She says
Well,
to me that every time I want to leave my child, my mom says to me, be careful.
Ah.
So I'm like, be careful of what? She said, I said to her, what does she say, be careful? She just said, Marora, Marora, be careful, be careful. So there is always that nudge at the back of her heart to be careful. Now, we are cooking these kids up. We're not letting them also in many ways to grow, to make mistakes, to learn. I'm not saying just show your kids a will, Ronke, you know our situation. But then some room. So I just felt for my daughter, my neighbor's daughter, nothing's going to happen to him, Nikki. It's more fair than any other thing. So I
Than
had to let it
anyone.
go. It's
Okay,
more
thank
fair.
you. So let's start concluding now because our time is now spent. Let's talk about it from the issue of collaboration. So, Ms. Okeke, you work with a number of people. And when it comes to working in a school, for example, where you work, people need to collaborate. But some people want to be the ones to shine, whether in a formal environment or in an informal environment, even ordinary WhatsApp group, you see people fighting there, where there's nothing to even gain there. You see what I mean? So when it comes to these insecurities, envy, jealousy, I also believe they are roots. What's your perspective when it comes to envy, collaboration, and jealousy?
okay, thank you very much. There are a lot of things happen in some things are bound to happen because we all grew up from different we had different upbringings. Even twins have different upbringings. So anytime they now, they express themselves in different ways. So when there are you can't rule out such happening in an environment. All you just need to do is, what I do is I do a lot of training. I do a lot of mindset change, because when the mindset is changed, take for example, my school is located in Ikotu, that is the outskirts of Lagos. So I recruited some teachers. You see some of them, they come in, the way they appear, they kind of, some of them come with slippers for an interview. Some of them wear slippers and all that. So those are, I think an environment thing. That environment has done a lot of things, you understand, to a couple of people. So when they come in, you need to reorientate their mind. You need to showcase what you want, what exactly you want in your environment. You make them understand by taking them through a lot of mindset change, reorientate their mind, let them understand and let them see, you have a particular customers you want to attract, then you have to put things in place to ensure that such people are the people that patronize. So you have to do a lot of orientation, reorientating them, changing their mindset when it comes to a lot of issues. So I think, and basically that has really helped us. It has helped us. And you see some people, they come in raw. By the time they come in, not that they don't know what they're going to offer, but their environment has impacted a lot in their parents, the way they do things. I had a teacher who was hired. We did a lot of tests, and she's okay, she's fine, but she has this loud voice. And at times she talks as if she's in the marketplace. So that is the way, the roots, the where she came from. That is, and she's actually coming from a school. So that is what is acceptable there. So when she got into our school, I had to reorient. I had to change that mindset. This is not a marketplace. You don't shout. Then you make her understand why. The reasons why she doesn't have to do that. And before you know it, you see a lot of them do a lot. You see a lot of changes happen in their lives. Yeah.
Ronke, we can't hear you.
Hey, thank you. You came back just in time. Mindset coaching, you said. I was just summarizing what Mr. KK said. I was talking to myself. I didn't realize. Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. So as we're concluding now, so I have teachers that I work with on different platforms. And during this COVID, a lot of teachers have been saying, we've heard it, some people now are crying online, people are donating, giving 5K here and there. People are supporting teachers as much as they can, which is wonderful. But we all know that it's better for us to teach to fish as opposed to give fish. So yeah. We started to train on different people. And when we come together and we talk about these things, we find that even when you want to upskill people, they're not interested in doing the work. Learn how to do videos, learn how to do graphics, learn how to do video lessons, give them homework, give them assignments. They won't do it. What sort of route is that? So I remind me of a scripture in the Bible where it says you give a lazy man food and that lazy man wants you to feed him the food. That's the case, that's the scenario in which we are seeing now, where people want to be fed. They are complaining about the COVID, and we are trying to give you tools to fish for yourself, but you're saying now that, oh no, just be giving me the 5K every now and again. This is a messed up route, a deep, deep route. Can you speak to that, please?
Okay, me. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The question is also scrolling around. So laziness during the COVID. So we're talking about laziness during this COVID.
Period.
People that have actually been given tools for free training. You're not asking for any money. All you have to do is show up with your data and do the training by yourself, learn it, and then use it to look for a job. So a digital job that you can do online, you need little or no capital to carry on. But then they don't do the assignments. Instead, they'll go to all these blogs, or they'll be fighting online and cursing people out. You see their comments here and there saying their school owner have not paid. They're using that kind of data for such, but they will not use it to upskill.
Okay, I do understand that some people feel that they're mentally incapacitated because of the experience or whatever it is they have gone through, right? Then again, I also want to look at this from this area. I'm not excused. Some people are lazy. or some people are falling into this rut of feeling lazy. Now, let's also look at something that I discovered recently. Most times, right, you see this dissatisfaction, this disorientation, some people are disoriented. So sometimes we think this is what they want, and they don't even know or understand what they want themselves. Some people are frustrated, some people are depressed, some people are angry, some people are dissatisfied. Some people feel like, you know what, I have tried all, but nothing is working. Remember, we're not excusing laziness away, but I just realized something recently. You see that dissatisfaction, that disorientation, frustration, and everything that anybody might be feeling, like I say, it has its roots in issues of the past, in significant emotional experiences of the past. I've had clients whom we gradually had to bring up to a point whereby they feel like they're just getting themselves mentally because of things that have happened to them that they are not aware of, or things that have happened to them that they are forgotten, but like the people say, I have moved on. Now, when that is the case, I like to go from this point to say that, number one, get help. Not help as to, okay, come and learn this one. Get help as to understand you. What is even wrong with you? What is not happening right? What
What if they don't know what is wrong? What if they don't think it's a
No,
problem?
no,
Some
no.
people don't think that.
Some people don't think that's a problem. Oh, then those are not the person. You can't if if you're not getting the results you want and you still do not think that there is a problem, then you cannot be helped. Nobody can help anybody if they're not willing to be helped.
So you have to identify that there's a
Oh,
root.
sure. You have to identify that there is a problem here and I would like to get help. So that is the basic first thing, right? Now, most times, for the love of humanity that we have, okay, most times we're quick to grab this person and say, this is the help. Come and learn this teacher thing. Some people are not even there. You see that some people, that is not what they would love to do. What they would love to do is something else. They might not know it, but they know it is not this thing I am doing. So when you see people who are not passionate about what they're doing, who do not even feel like they want to live, so to say, or enjoy their lives, something is broken somewhere, and they probably have repressed it that it doesn't even immediately comes to their awareness. So you say, like some people like, oh, okay, you know what, this person succeeded at this business, you to go and learn tailoring. Meanwhile, tailoring is not that person's issue. This person might know that I can do more, I can get better, but I don't even know what it
I
is.
actually don't
I don't
understand that
know.
scenario where that example, I actually have encountered stuff like that where they say, just go and do something. The person is not saying what they will do, they want to do. They don't know what they want to do. It happens with people, parents, and many children. The child is not saying what they want to do. The parent is giving you the free hand. What career choice do you want to do? Or maybe they even have a domestic worker at home and they're saying, what career do you want to do? And then the person is not saying it. You just suggest something. Is it not a natural thing to do?
That means that this person, number one, doesn't have adequate self-knowledge. Hear me. Number one, does not have adequate self-knowledge. By adequate self-knowledge, I mean, what are the things that is important to this person? What are the limiting beliefs this person has that needs to be changed? What is the sense of identity this person has that is limiting this person? So let me take it from example of the child that you talked about. Are you asking this child that what would you like to do? Choose any career goal you want. A child that probably you have spoken at, you have condemned, you have criticized, you have said words that this person feels mentally disoriented. This person feels this person is always criticizing me, and you're now saying you should know what you do. How should this person know what they need to do? How? They don't know. They don't know. They have no idea what this thing is. And part of the contribution or part of the reasons why they don't know is because of the way you've handled them. Maybe at some point they were aware and they wanted to do something and you said, no, that is not a good thing to do. You condemn that. You criticize this. They want to take an initiative, or they take an initiative and then that thing didn't turn well. You have abused the child. Now you now say you should know what you want to do. You have killed that child's sense of belonging or sense of identity, and you're saying you should know what you want to do, which is the reason why most people are disoriented, Ronke. And actually, that was why at some point, this case you mentioned was what made me, we were talking about Girls Talk Cafe, was what made me get to the point to say that I want to create something that is not particularly expensive. Every woman I know should be able to afford 10,000 naira for a year subscription of joining Girls Talk Cafe. Because in this group, we know that dissatisfaction, that disorientation, that frustration, anger.
What you actually do in the group?
Yes, whereby we're letting people, three main things we do. Number one, enable people to have adequate self-knowledge. By adequate self-knowledge, we mean you understand what is important to you. By what is important to you, we're looking at your values, you as a person, not what any other person else is thinking about, but you as a person. We're looking at you as an entity, not you, whether you're married, not your spouse, not your children, not your career, but you. That foundational thing every one of us should have been given before we grew up and we started, so to say, getting it wrong and missing it. So we're looking at what's important to you as a person. What are your values? What are those intricate things at your core that matters to you? Now, to some people, they go, oh, if it doesn't sound lofty, believe me, those little things, that is where your treasure is. That is what truly, as a person, is important to you. We all know the story of Tara, where if she had not really been a pioneer in the makeup industry, maybe Nigeria will still be at that place whereby who knew that 15, 20, 25 years ago, makeup wasn't a thing. But she listened, she understood what was important to her and who she is and how she wanted to beautify people. And she went at it, she gave expression to that thing. So you as a person, what is important to you? What are also the limiting beliefs you have in your head that is holding you back from doing what you consciously want? Then what is the concept of yourself that you hold in your mind? Is it the concept of what your parents said about you? Is it the concept of what you truly are, or who you truly are? Do you think that you're someone who is helpless? Because you'll be amazed at how you see a grown woman who constantly feels, I can't do it, I am helpless, is still a child, has the concept of feeling that they are not adequate constantly in their head. So that's one thing we look at, adequate self-knowledge. Another thing we look at is the clarity, self-discovery. Most times people pick their goals. People want to do things that they just take from their head, something that they were programmed to do. So if you look at the thing we're talking about, someone says, oh, tailoring is what is working now. Go and learn tailoring. Tailoring is not what you truly want. By the time you have adequate self-knowledge, then you're able to have the clarity to know what exactly it is you want to do. Now, when you know what exactly it is you want to do, then we go to the self-strategies. Self-strategies is about implementing daily activities that suit you. It's not about any other person. So because some people go, oh, you should not sleep 8 hours a day. Some people go, you should do your work in the morning. For some people, being that late night is that time that works for them. Anyways, whatever it is for you, there's just such strategies that works for you, that is sustainable for you. It's not about competition. It's not about any pressure. It's not about, when Yoruba says, Emma would agola ago shishe. It's all about you. You're designing something for yourself that works with you, that is in alignment with what is truly important to you, is in alignment with who you are as a person. So that's basically what it does. Because most times, I keep saying, people are so disoriented. People have goals. I've seen people have goals, who have plans that is based on peer pressure and competition. Who are you competing with? Your life is not, it's not like that. It is yours. And you live it on your own terms. Okay, can you hear? Okay.
Thank you so much for that. Who are you competing with? So please connect with Nike so that you can talk more about that and learn more about her group. Nike is someone that I've known for quite a few years now and highly recommend it. Otherwise, she won't be here. The same goes with Deeproots. please connect with her. She also has an amazing school and a marriage group on Facebook. So, Ms. Okeke, can you give us your last words concerning Deeproots today? What are the last words as we conclude today? And if there are any products or anything that you would like us to know about, please let us know.
Okay, thank you very much, Ronke. Just like Nike has said, self-discovery and finding your purpose. You need to discover who you are, where your strength lies, and finding your purpose, what you do with a lot of ease that gives you fulfillment. When you do that, then you will be able to connect. Then another thing is your mindset. You must have a growth mindset. A growth mindset has to do with developing yourself in that particular area that you find you find your purpose in. So that's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Ronke, are you there?
You can hear me now? I'm sure you can.
Yes, we can. Yes.
So we've come to the end of the show. We've even overshot it already. So if you need to connect to everybody, I've put the I've already scrolled through the handles for everybody here, and I'm going to find it again and do it again. So Nick area, your performance consultants, Ms. Bella Okeke of Higher Schools. The handles are there. Please connect with them. And I thank you so much for joining. Please drop your name or say hello so that I know that you actually joined us today, so I can say hello and thanks for joining on such a stressful day for me. Thank you, Mrs. Okeke, for joining us. Thank you, Nick, for
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
A whole hour and a half. But think about it. You're doing something for humanity. People are going to come across this. People are going to be transformed. I'm going to listen to it again when I'm calmer so that I can absorb myself, because it has been a really, really hectic few hours for me. So I thank you so much for sharing with us. And thank you everyone that has come here today. Till we meet again next week. We'll be talking English next week. English help. So thank you. And I'll
goodbye. All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you, Nike. Bye.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Okeke.